Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Bridging Impact Podcast, the podcast that is passing wisdom to the next generation of athletes, coaches, and parents to transform leaders on and off the court. And I'm your host, Coach Furtado. So, in every single Friday episode of the Bridging Impact Podcast, we have a series called Coach's Corner, where I, Coach Furtado, I share what I'm learning from the week and what I am hearing from parents and what I'm seeing in the youth sports world. And so one of the things I want to talk about today is a really, really important topic that I think every single parent needs to listen to. And coaches, this is something that we have to work through, and also something that, I still need to kind of continue to improve upon. And that is, you know, getting parents to understand that players on a team have a role on that team, and their role is not to always catch and go to the basket when in terms of basketball, right? Same thing. Their role is not to swing for the fences in baseball every single time. I don't know other sports well enough. Those are the two sports I played, but I'm sure there are selfish plays that you can make in every single team sport that apply to that. And so why do I bring this up? Because this is what I'm hearing a lot. It's what I'm seeing a lot. And I will first talk about the varsity, being a varsity assistant this year. I, saw firsthand probably our second most talented player on the team, just not buying into the offense and, really wanted to do things in his own world, right? Like wanting to play ISO basketball and not wanting to fit in within the system. And it was really frustrating to watch because, you know, it a lot of it was because, his dad has these high expectations for him. He wants him to, be this great player. But guess what? Like college coaches, when they are looking to recruit players, they are not only looking to score, they are looking, do you fit within the system, the offense? And there are players, their roles are just to score, right? In the NBA, we see players like Jordan Poole. He is not very good at anything else besides scoring, right? Dancing with the basketball, but that's his role. But you have to understand what your role is on the team and what your kid's role is on the team. And that's why, a lot of times parents or coaches try to keep parents at arm's length away and are just like, tune out your parents, right? But I think it's a little bit of both, and there's some educating around it. And I will get to the point of like not wanting to accept your role, but to want to always kind of expand on it. And so one of the things that I want to talk about is like, when it comes to a team, right, the best part about sports is that it teaches, right? We know it teaches life skills, but a lot of times we interfere with those life skills. We yell at our kids, like I said, just rip and go to the basket. Don't even read the defense. Don't do what coach is telling you to do when you're running the play. Just go to the basket. Do you, right? What is that telling the kid? That's telling the kid that when they get a job, when they're done with sports, that, you know what, don't listen to what the boss says. Just do what you want to do. And how employable will that kid be, right? Not super employable. They may be bouncing around to different jobs, right? Oh, it's like, and I don't even want to get into the transfer portal thing because it's a nuance. It's not black and white. It's a very gray area. But you have to be able to understand what is my role on the team and how do I execute it. It's the same thing. Let's say I am in marketing, right? But and I want to be in HR, so I'm just going to start doing HR roles and talking to my employees, hey, like you can't do that, right? But hey, I want to, that's what I want to do. I want to be in HR, but my role is marketing. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do my let's say my social media marketing today. I'm not going to market on Facebook today. I don't feel like it. I don't want to do that. So that's what we're teaching our kids when we tell them, hey, you can just go do whatever you want. You can just take the ball to the basket. And so basketball terms wise, you can go to the basket when the gap is there, right? But when you tell your kid before you catch the ball, go to the basket, right? They have to make a read. Is the gap there? Do I have the skill to get around this defender, right? Is this defender big? Is this defender, quick, right? There is so much more nuance that goes into it that hopefully coaches are teaching their players, right? To then attack the basket. Maybe coach wants them to swing it around 1, 2, 3 times, then attack, right? All right. And also, your kid is not going to shoot every single time they touch the ball. They're not. They're not. There's 4 other people on the court, right? If your player is still the scorer, they still may not shoot the ball every single time because it is a team game. now at the same time, right? Maybe your player's the fifth person on the court and coach really just wants them to rebound and pass to people. Well, let's ask ourselves why, right? Do they have the skills right now to dribble and create for themselves? If coach just wants them to rebound and get rid of it, probably not. And also, are they strong with the ball? All right, do they take care of the ball? So is all five players on the court going to shoot the same amount of shots? Absolutely not. Some players are going to be better scorers and they should shoot the ball more, right? That is their job. That is their role. And if you want a bigger role, a promotion on the team, right? Because that is a bigger role, right? In the real life setting, that is a promotion. You have to work for it. You have to have conversations with coach. Hey, coach, what can I get better at to get a bigger role, right? And ask for something specific. Coach says, hey, just improve overall. What do you mean, coach? Like my ball handling, like I want to, be clear. What do you want? What are you asking for? You want more? You want to shoot the ball more? Well, guess what? Your shot is broke. You can't shoot. So right now, I need you moving the ball, right? So you need to go into the lab and work on your shot, right? And I'm just kind of throwing out these different examples. And I don't want players to only accept their role because that is one of the things that I actually regret from when I was a senior in basketball. And I talk about my journey of getting cut and then making the team. But I just accepted my role as a team as being someone that pretty much was the bench warmer that encouraged their teammates and busted butt in practice, brought good energy. I accepted that as my role. In hindsight 2020, the one thing I wish I continued to strive for that role like I strive to be on the team. Because once I got on the team, I got complacent. That's the one thing that I do regret from my sports experience. But so I don't encourage, you have to accept your role and execute your role if you want to grow and get a bigger role. Because coach is not going to give you a bigger role if you can't execute the one you are in now. And it's a coach's responsibility to put players in the roles that they will succeed in. And you're not always going to have coaches that do that the best. Well, guess what? Are you always going to have great supervisors, great bosses? Absolutely not. You're not going to. So stop coddling our kids. And, sometimes realistically, they may be better than the person that is playing more than them. That's true. There may be some politics going behind it. That person may be a senior and sophomore, and that's just how the coach coaches, right? But again, when they get hired, when they're at a job, they do have more, my generation, I'm young, right? We have more options now, more than ever, to work. But even within our work context, right, there are going to be things, right, that a supervisor tells us to do that we may not agree with, that we have to perform and execute. And I've done it before, right? And I'm honestly not the best person at this. I'm like, but it's because I'm kind of entrepreneurial and I'm like, I could do this better otherwise, So I feel it, it's not a perfect, again, it's not black and white, but I always want to encourage players to execute their role before they can get a bigger role. And again, there's sometimes it's life, right? There may be someone, right? Let's say, again, I like using the working world. I'm in marketing again, and I got another marketing. He's been in the marketing business, he or she, for 2 years longer than me. Okay, great. 2 years longer than me. I feel like I personally am better at doing the social media, the Facebook ads and the Instagram ads. I feel like I'm better, right? But you know what? I'm still on, they put me on the streets, I'm canvassing, right? Or I'm, kind of doing the in-person stuff where I don't have the role that I want. Well, I better start showing coach consistently over time. Hey, coach, how can I get that? How can I work a little bit more on the Facebook and Instagram ads, right? So, same thing, basketball. Coach, how can I become the starting point guard? Well, you need to be more vocal. You need to know all of our plays like the back of our hand, right? You need to get better at creating for others, better at passing, all right? You need to be able to, turn the ball over less. You need to take care of that ball, handle pressure, right? There's a lot of different things. So hopefully the coach can give a clear answer, and you're not, again, always going to have that, right? And sometimes it's going to be a frustrating experience. It's not always going to be like, yay. And so that's really where I think parents really need to be encouraging, supportive, and you can challenge, right, your players, your athletes to get better, to execute their role, but stop telling them what to do with the ball. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it's going to hurt your player in the long run. It is. And I'm just going to tell you straight up, it's going to hurt your player in the long run. I've watched it happen this year. I don't know where that athlete is. He has, Division 1 fringe, Division 2 potential, but because he is a selfish player, he's probably going to end up somewhere where he doesn't want to be. And that's the truth, because college coaches are not only looking at scoring, they are looking at your energy on the bench. Are you a great teammate? How do you show up? How do you practice? Right? Are you practicing only by yourself? Right? Or are you connected with the team? Are you encouraging, you're uplifting people? Do you make the players around you better? Unless you are supremely 1% talented, you can't get away with not doing all the little things and not having great character. If you're 1% talented, it doesn't matter, like teams are just going to take you, right? And so, but I'm guessing that most of you listening don't have a top 1% talented kid. Again, it's 1%, 99% of us, right? And there are different tiers and here and there. And, some kids can get away with certain things, but let's be honest, like most kids aren't. So we need to teach our kids how to execute their role. That's how they're going to get more playing time. That's an honest opinion from a coach. Let's have a conversation about it. You disagree with me on something? Let's talk about it. I want to just, create more conversations in the youth sports world, because youth sports, to me, sports is just a practice for life, right? A simulated practice. You're bringing together championship teams. There's nothing better. It's a lot of fun, and I'm still learning as a coach, right? I'm not perfect at all. I'm talking here in a way of I have perfected it all. And I'll just be honest, at sometimes, I've worked for other people, as a coach, and I may not always agree with my supervisor in the way that they want to approach the way of coaching, but it's my responsibility to coach under their philosophy, because that's, kind of, right? That's where we're going, bridging impact basketball. When I hire coaches and employees eventually to be under me, they're not always going to agree with me, and hopefully I can create some sort of collaborative experience to where, we can listen and learn, but there are going to be certain values. There are going to be certain ways that we just don't coach that like that at bridging impact basketball, right? That's not it. Then this is not the place for you. Right. And so that's the other thing, is kind of depends on what team, right? And if there's really, not seeing eye to eye to a coach, whether it's a club team, there's a ton of other club teams you can go play for, right? Especially club. High school is a little different. It's a little more challenging, but it's easier than ever to kind of transfer. But don't transfer because it's it's challenging, or just straight up because you don't agree with the coach. You have to put in the effort to get that extra play time. If you put in the time and you feel like you're putting in the time, you're talking to the coach, and someone that is still, you feel, not as good as you, get more play time, then that's an opportunity to maybe go look for yourself. But you have to check the boxes first. You have to make sure that you are always striving, right, for that promotion. You're talking to the coach, because you're responsible. We got to teach our athletes their responsibility, right? Because at the end of the day, when they graduate, are you going to help them get a job? Maybe, and you should maybe, guide them, support them, but you're not doing that. Don't do the work for them. They have to do the work themselves. So it's all about, creating leaders for the future. We're all about making that impact, passing that impact back. So thank you all for listening to this episode. If you got something out of it, you want to share this with another parent you think would be great for them, please share it with them. That's how we grow the podcast. If you're on YouTube, give a little comment. Let me know what you think. All right, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, make sure you're following us, subscribe so you get that bell, so that we come into your feed every week with our weekly interviews and our weekly Coaches Corner. And that is all. If you want to rate us, let us know. Hit that rating in Apple Podcast. Coach Furtado out. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.